Hey guys, Monday, so Monday show. Um, Previously on my Monday show, I've spoken about a few types of whiskey, um, and the Bottle and Bond Act, and I thought today I would talk about the craft whiskey movement and the danger that it's currently in. To start, there is no good definition of what craft means in terms of whiskey. People have put forth proposals for what it means, but that isn't important right now. What is important right now is that craft distilling and that segment of that industry, of the whiskey industry, the liquor industry, is in trouble. There are laws in place in various states that make it difficult for them to survive under ideal circumstances, difficult to make a profit under ideal circumstances. And these laws are mostly put into place by three types of sources. You've got the people who are in favor of blue laws in general, which are like the laws regarding when and where and who can sell spirits and other alcoholic beverages, and who view temperance as um, a larger goal, and that's reduced some recently as uh, real liquor lobbies have expanded in power. The second type is the retailers and distributors who are looking to protect their segment of the industry. And then the last one, the big guys. And that's somewhat of a controversial statement because if I go after the big guys, they're not going to like me very much. I review spirits, and favorably or unfavorably, that is considered fine and dandy. But once you get into talking about their effect, the big guy's effect on the craft spirits industry, you start to get into an area where you have to tread very carefully because they have resources that they can muster and bring against me that I just can't. So I'm going to word this very carefully. The biggest players in the liquor industry, the biggest distilleries, have a vested interest in maintaining laws that allow them to have the leverage that they have over the marketplace. It is common sense that they go out of their way to protect their interest and their ability to control the market to the extent that they do. Unfortunately, a byproduct of these three people's influence upon the laws of the land results in stuff like in Texas. Currently, it is the law that you can, from a distillery tasting room, you can purchase 1.5 liters or two 750 milliliter bottles per 30-day period. Which doesn't sound like that bad an idea, that bad a thing. Except that, for example, you go and visit Belmont Farms Distillery and you visit their tasting room. This is in Virginia. The laws are slightly different in Virginia. But, I know. Better. You go and visit the Crowded Barrel Distillery in Austin, Texas, and they've got, say, three releases of Eleanor and a couple of other things that you want to get. You can only get two. Suppose you've driven all day. You've driven 10 hours to get there. And you can only get two bottles. That sucks. And in this era of a pandemic, you've got the added bonus of they can't have their tasting rooms open, which limits their ability to sell cocktails and tasting flights, and it reduces their ability to make sales in general. They can't ship and deliver whiskey to end consumers. And there are a handful of reasons why states have adopted rules like that, and they're all horseshit. Now, I can go after politicians all I fucking want. The idea that you can't ship beer or distilled spirits of a percentage over 20% or whatever, wherever they draw the line, is garbage. Why do I say that? Well, you can ship wine. You can have wine delivered to your door. But that's okay. But beer and distilled spirits? No. Now, the reasoning for this is twofold. And I'll get into what I believe the reasoning to be in a moment. The reasoning is that you don't want kids to be able to have access to alcohol. And that's well and good if that's truly your aim. Change the law so it's illegal to deliver wine to your house. And the other one that I hear is, well, it's to help states protect local businesses, local breweries and distilleries. Okay, cool. The closest distillery to me is a 40-minute drive, one way. The closest brewery is a 5-minute walk. Cool. The closest brewery doesn't really make beer that I like. The closest distillery doesn't make whiskey that I particularly enjoy. I would like to be able to purchase products that I like. It doesn't protect local businesses if the people who want the product that's shipped in doesn't have a local analog or a local version. Like, okay, cool. In the state of Virginia, there are ABC stores, alcoholic beverage control stores. It's a state-run operation, and they are garbage for a number of reasons. Again, they're a state entity, so I feel free to not wear gloves when I take swings at them. They have a number of problems. And they do try to showcase local-made Virginia spirits, but they don't always do a really great job of that. For example, let's see. This Catoctin Creek Rye is one of my favorite whiskeys in the world. It is by far one of the best rye whiskeys I have ever tried. It is a product of Virginia. It's made in Purcellville, which isn't too far from me. It's about an hour drive. You would think that VAABC would do their best to make sure that this is in every store. To get this at a local ABC store, I've got to go all the way across to the city that I live in to get a bottle. Which, as you might imagine, doesn't help Catoctin Creek terribly much. I've gone off on a tangent on VABC, but basically what I'm saying is the local protection argument doesn't hold much water if the people who would buy the local product would buy it anyway, even if they couldn't order something from out of state or from outside of the local area. So, what do I think the real reason that you can ship wine to your house but not beer or whiskey or other distilled spirits? I think it has to do with money. You see, when these rules were crafted, it was sort of well established that beer was a local thing, and so is whiskey. So, you could get those locally, and they were seen as a poor person's drink. That has changed considerably. But at that point in time, wine was one of those things that A, rich people drank, B, its quality and its style was largely determined by where it was made. So a lot of people were in favor of importing wines from well-renowned wine regions. France, Italy, California, hey, even Virginia, believe it or not. Virginia wines were apparently very popular in New York and into the Midwest, which I find fascinating. But anyway, because that was A, seen as a rich person's thing, and B, sort of seen as a largely terroir-based product, it was okay to ship. But beer and distilled spirits aren't. And that's horseshit. Now, Virginia recently changed the rule a little bit so that you can order products of Virginia distilleries delivered to your Virginia address, which is good. I wish that VA/ABC would ship, especially since the pandemic started. I haven't been able to get some stuff that I had been planning to get because they stopped doing the thing where you could go onto the website, order something that's not in your local store for pickup at your store, which sucks. And maybe that was something that they'd been planning all along. Maybe it wasn't. I don't really care. I don't like VA/ABC anyway. But it's particularly hard on the distilleries in Texas at the moment. They're looking at potentially losing 50% of the distilleries in Texas, the craft distilleries in Texas, if they don't get some relief soon. It isn't new. It started when the pandemic started, and the state told them that they couldn't operate tasting rooms, and they weren't going to change bottle limits. Well, what does that mean? I mean, if a distillery goes out of business, that's what, 20 to 100 employees. That's not a really great economic impact, right? Wrong. Because grain producers, distillery employees, waste management employees, tourism. You see, one thing that I think a lot of politicians don't realize is exactly how much tourism distilleries and the distillery trail idea bring. And the people who are on the whiskey trails in various states don't just visit distilleries. They also have to stay somewhere, so that's hotels. They have to eat, so that's restaurants. They have to buy gas. They have to buy snacks, which is, grocery stores and convenience stores. And taxes. Every sale at a distillery garners taxes. If you limit the distillery's sales, you are limiting the amount of tax you can pull from that. So if you remove that bottle of it, give them the ability to ship and deliver alcohol, suddenly you are going to see a boost in tax revenue. And that's a good thing, right? That's what every politician wants, a boost in tax revenue. Because a boost in tax revenue is more money that you can put forward into social programs or, paying employees of the city, state, whatever, because, that's something that... But anyway, I digress. Basically, I'm asking you to do your part to help the distilleries in Texas and across the country. Right now, the Texas Craft Spirits Political Action Group is raising money to lobby to change the laws in Texas. I'll drop a link down there. It'll drop you on the splash page for the Crowded Barrel Distillery because there's somebody that I follow online. And if you don't feel like doing that, ask you to please visit a craft distillery that is near you. Even if you have to drive an hour and buy some whiskey. Because if they don't make it through this, there's a good possibility that they won't ever come back. And that is a bad thing. And of course, I've got a show for myself now. If you want to see the content that I make early, if you would like to vote on what I review, if you would like to suggest cocktail ideas for Drinking Geeks episodes, etc., maybe even suggest ideas for these videos, you can join my Patreon. There's a link in the description down below for $1 a month. That's $12 per year. That's not a whole lot, and it will help me improve this content greatly. If you would prefer to have a tangible good in exchange for your investment, and you would like to support the channel, please consider buying a That's the Spirit Pot Still sticker from my Etsy store. Again, link in the description. There will also be a link in the description to a Discord. It is the Whiskey Lodge. It's where a group of fans of whiskey gather, talk, hang out. It's a cool place. It's run by an admin named Joe. And full disclosure, I am now a moderator there. It's a cool place. Come check it out. Come visit us. In the meantime, stay happy, stay geeks, and I'll see you on Wednesday.